Hi, this is Ed from Wright, and today we're talking about Greenzie 2.0. Greenzie 2.0 is the latest software version available on our autonomous ZK, and many of these updates have been coming through the past couple years. About every other week, there's an update where the machine gets new features, new functionality. And 2.0, what we're talking about, is really the roll-up of all of these features. So the biggest one, the most significant feature that just came out, is what we call job reload. This is a major leap forwards in the flexibility and productivity of this machine. Previously, you'd mow a boundary and the mower would cut the inside by itself. You'd go to the next job and you do the same thing again. Well, now all of these jobs are identifiable within the web app. So you can see here the zone that it's mowing. I can select a zone and call it a favorite. And then on my favorites tab here, you can see all the different jobs that are available to us and the one that it's cutting. And so you can select another job site and go for it. This makes it so you don't have to think through the map every time, and it's way more productive. The second thing that we have is, well, the camera has depth sensing cameras all around it, so it verifies it has a flat plane all the way out through its stopping distance. And this is really important to understand from a safety standpoint, because like an airplane, it needs many different redundant control systems, because an airplane can't just stop in the sky. But in the case with our mower, it can stop within its boundaries. So if a camera, for example, were to go offline or something like this, the machine would just stop. And so that's generally how the safety system works. Now we have a second type of camera as well that recognizes objects, and it's been trained to respond to different objects differently. Some objects you want to stop for, some you want to go around. Well, the latest update, cones are typically harder to detect objects because oftentimes you can have very short cones, but now this object recognition system, that's kind of an AI-based system, has been trained on what cones look like and will go around cones. So here we have cones on all of our rock outcrops in this field, and it goes around the cone and carries on about its business. So that's pretty cool. The other thing is that the machine has had some changes so that it tracks a straighter line and it makes much smoother turns. So like I said, this machine's getting constantly improved. Now another question I've heard is what's the availability of this machine? This machine is not a prototype. This is something that we're selling. We make these things in our factory every single day. If you'd like to buy one, reach out to us and we'd love to walk you through what's involved with that, connect you with an authorized autonomous dealer, and get you going. Now, in terms of pricing, right now you can either buy the machine and pay $12,000 a year as part of the subscription, or we're moving to a new option where you can buy the first 2 years upfront discounted. So right now, if you buy the machine for $54,999, that would include the first 2 years of all that support and subscription, and then it's $1,000 a month thereafter, or $12,000 a year. Now, what comes with that support? And it might sound, it's expensive, but let's talk about what it is. It covers anything on the machine that fails. It's a full coverage type of guarantee on the machine. So if any of the autonomous related stuff goes out, if a computer or camera or accelerometer or any of that stuff fails, we will replace it free of charge. Now, one of the reasons why we do this is that I think for an emerging technology like this, if you have one of these advanced sensors fail, we don't think it's valuable to go back and forth over, is it a quality issue? Can you wear out a computer? Those are all kind of unanswered questions. And so I think that for us to flat rate that cost and carry the risk ourselves, that it might cost us more to support you or not, I think is going to be a much more successful business model for emerging technology like this. So another question we've heard is, can it mow in the rain? And absolutely, it can mow in light rain. That's why we're filming this in the car right now, because it's raining and this machine's running out there. Now, if it's raining hard, droplets will begin to accumulate on the camera lenses, and it'll say, hey, I can't verify that I have flat ground all around me, and would shut off at that point. But yeah, when it's damp out, it'll keep running just fine. Other questions, reliability. How's the reliability of the machine? So we've been working on this for a number of years. We've got a lot of hours behind us, and at this point I'm pretty satisfied with where the reliability of the machine is. The hardware has been real consistent. Of the couple things that we ran into in our testing, they've all been, for the most part, resolved and taken care of, and so reliability is quite good. Another question, can the mower be fixed by an owner? And the answer would be yes. Now, our first line of defense certainly is our dealers, but the machine is made up of mostly commercial components, and so with screwdrivers and wrenches it can come apart and be put back together. And so something like replacing the modem is very, very easy to do, and so it's not like rocket science, but there is a fair amount of nuance and detail into it. And so all things considered, we'd prefer to have it serviced at an authorized dealer environment. The cost of replacement parts was another question. The parts are very expensive, but that's also why we have this service agreement, so that if there's any spontaneous failure, we're covering that for you. Question of comparison of cost of ownership versus similar products. I think it's probably easiest to get your mind around this if you compare it to a wide area mower. The annual cost and depreciation is fairly similar, but this machine doesn't require an operator, whereas something like a wide area mower does. In terms of ROI, on the one hand, you have to answer, okay, what am I getting from a productivity standpoint? So if you have one person that's tending an autonomous mower and using a regular mower at the same time, then you've doubled your production. I have managed 3 at a time, which is pretty busy. It certainly can be done if the area is pretty straightforward and simple, but I think 2 is the sweet spot. So generally we're talking about doubling production. Now, in terms of the cost and how does that come into it, one way to look at it is a full-size commercial lawnmower typically goes through about $3,000 of depreciation per year. Think of a $12,000 lawnmower that's run for 4 years, that's $3,000 a year. An autonomous mower is about $17,000 more per year in depreciation and the service agreement. And so I think the question is, would you double your production? Is it worth it to you to double your production for $17,000 a year? And I think in most cases the answer is absolutely yes. This is a great way to make more money if you have the right types of job sites for this style mower. Another question is stripes. How good are the stripes? They're spot on. So in the mind of the machine, it knows where it is within about a 1/4 inch accuracy, and then the machine is tracking that line. So if the machine hits a bump, it might scooch over an inch or 2, and then it will get right back on that line. So that center line is super, super accurate. The stripes are absolutely beautiful. And you can even go around the curvature of ground where you can't see from one end to the other end of a field. Normally, the mower still knows what's a straight line because it's GPS and not visual based. Another question, what's the biggest challenge in making an autonomous mower? The biggest challenge is that this is a technology where we're starting from scratch. Most of the products out there are an improvement, an upgrade, or another generation of existing concepts with a mature underlying supply base. But in the case of autonomous mowers, it's all new and it's all from scratch, which has been very exciting, but it's also been a lot of work. And it's pretty neat just where we are today. So if you're interested in an autonomous mower, we'd love to get you one. Just reach out to us, and we'd love to hear from you. Thanks. I hope you have a great rest of your spring.